Love spine-tingling stories that keep you up at night? On this channel, we bring you original scary stories narrated to send chills down your spine. Hit like if you enjoy the scares and subscribe so you don't miss a story that will haunt your imagination long after the lights go out. So, without further ado, here are 5 unexplained true scary stories at McDonald's. The San Ysidro Nightmare. It was a sweltering July afternoon in 1984 in the quiet suburb of San Ysidro, California. The local McDonald's was buzzing with the usual lunchtime crowd, families with children laughing over happy meals, office workers grabbing quick Big Macs, and elderly couples sipping coffee in the booths. The air smelled of fresh fries and grilled burgers, a comforting aroma that masked the horror about to unfold. James Huberty, a 41-year-old unemployed security guard, had been simmering with rage for months. Job losses, financial woes, and a growing paranoia had twisted his mind into a dark abyss. That day, he told his wife he was going hunting for humans, donning a black t-shirt, camouflage pants, and arming himself with a shotgun, a 9 pistol, and an Uzi submachine gun. He parked his car in the lot and strode through the glass doors like any other customer. But instead of ordering, he raised his weapons and opened fire. The first shots shattered the peaceful din, bullets ripping through the counter, sending cashiers diving for cover. Screams echoed as patrons scrambled, mothers shielding their bobbies, a group of teenagers frozen in terror at their table. Huberty methodically moved through the restaurant, reloading with cold precision, targeting anyone in sight. A young boy clutching his toy from the Happy Meal was hit in the chest. An elderly woman slumped over her tray, blood pooling on the tiled floor. Outside, in the drive-thru, cars honked in confusion until the gunfire spilled into the parking lot, wounding drivers who thought they were safe. The massacre lasted 77 agonizing minutes. Police arrived quickly, but the building's layout and Huberty's position made it a sniper's nightmare. SWAT teams surrounded the perimeter, helicopters whirring overhead, as survivors crawled out broken windows, their clothes stained with ketchup and blood indistinguishably mingled. Inside, the once cheerful play area became a scene from hell, with bodies strewn amid colorful ball pits and discarded wrappers. Finally, a sharpshooter perched on a nearby rooftop took the shot, ending Huberty's rampage with a bullet to the heart. When the smoke cleared, 21 people lay dead, including infants and the elderly, and 19 more were wounded, some scarred for life. The San Ysidro McDonald's stood as a grim monument for months before being demolished, its site turned into a memorial park. But whispers persist among locals. On hot summer nights, you can still hear faint echoes of screams in the wind, and shadows of the fallen lingering where the golden arches once stood. This tragedy, one of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history at the time, forever tainted the image of the fast food haven, reminding everyone that evil can strike in the most ordinary places. The PlayPlace abyss. In a bustling McDonald's in an unnamed Midwestern town, the PlayPlace was every kid's dream, a labyrinth of colorful tubes, slides, and ball pits designed for endless fun. But one rainy Saturday afternoon, it became a parent's worst nightmare. Little Timmy, a rambunctious 5-year-old, had begged his mom to let him play while she sipped her coffee. The area was packed with children shrieking with joy, climbing and sliding under the watchful eyes of harried employees. Unbeknownst to anyone, one child, a boy no older than 8, had been feeling queasy from too many McNuggets and a large soda. Instead of alerting an adult, he panicked and decided the slide looked like a private escape. As he ascended the ladder, his stomach churned violently. At the top, he couldn't hold it anymore. Explosive diarrhea erupted, coating the inside of the twisting slide in a foul, slippery mess. The boy slid down in horror, emerging at the bottom covered in his own filth, sobbing. But the nightmare was just beginning. Unaware kids kept queuing up, plunging down the **TN slide one after another. The first few emerged screaming, their clothes smeared, the stench filling the air like a toxic cloud. Parents rushed in, gagging at the sight, brown streaks everywhere, children wailing as the mess spread across the foam mats and into the ball pit. One girl slipped and fell face first into a puddle, vomiting from the shock. Employees, underpaid and overwhelmed, donned gloves and masks to tackle the cleanup, but the damage was done. The PlayPlace reeked for days, even after industrial cleaners were called in. Rumors spread among the staff of similar incidents, tales of hidden presents in the tubes, forgotten for weeks until the smell became unbearable. Some parents swore they saw ghostly handprints on the fogged-up windows afterward, as if the traumatized spirits of playtime lingered. This grotesque event, shared anonymously by employees online, highlights the hidden horrors lurking in places meant for innocence, where one child's mishap can turn joy into revulsion. The creepy manager's lair. Sarah was 17 when she started her first job at a McDonald's in a small Colorado town, eager for pocket money and independence. The Golden Arches promised a straightforward gig, flipping burgers, serving smiles. But from day one, the assistant manager, a leering 50-year-old named Mr. Harlan, set his sights on her. With a greasy comb-over and a perpetual smirk, he assigned her to the grill's station, away from the front counter, claiming it was where the real action happens. The heat from the grills was oppressive, the sizzle of patties masking his whispered compliments. "You're too pretty for the registers, sweetheart. I like keeping you back here with me." Nights dragged on as Sarah scraped congealed grease from the metal surfaces, her uniform soaked in sweat and oil. Harlan hovered, his breath hot on her neck as he demonstrated how to load the mayo gun, his hand lingering too long on hers. Whispers from other female employees confirmed the pattern. He'd impregnated at least 2 young workers in the past, luring them to the storage shed out back with promises of extra shifts. One girl found a used condom discarded there, a slimy trophy of his conquests. Sarah felt trapped, the fluorescent lights buzzing like angry insects, the fryer alarms sounding like distant screams. On her 4th shift, Harlan cornered her during a slow hour. "You're beautiful, just like my daughter," he murmured, his eyes gleaming with something dark and predatory. Sarah's stomach twisted. She ripped off her apron, hurled it at his feet, and stormed out into the cool night air. But the horror didn't end there. Weeks later, she heard he'd been transferred, not fired, continuing his hunt at another location. Nightmares plagued her, visions of the shed door creaking open, Harlan's shadow stretching long across the floor, the smell of burgers turning to something rotten. This real-life tale, echoed in employee forums, exposes the underbelly of fast food work, where power imbalances breed monsters in plain sight. The Mutant Meat Conspiracy. Deep in the undercurrents of online forums and whispered conversations, the legend of McDonald's, mutant meat, persists like a festering wound. It began in the early 2000s with a viral email from Brazil, claiming whistleblowers had exposed the truth. The burgers weren't from cows at all, but harvested from grotesque, genetically engineered creatures bred in secret labs. These abominations, boneless blobs with no eyes, mouths, or limbs, were kept alive in sterile tanks, fed through tubes pumping nutrient slurry directly into their pulsating flesh. The process was efficient, horrifyingly so. No waste, just endless meat production that allegedly caused consumers to develop mysterious illnesses, from wasting diseases mimicking AIDS to brain fog akin to Alzheimer's. One alleged insider story, shared on Reddit and amplified across social media, described a night shift worker stumbling into a restricted basement at a flagship McDonald's. Expecting storage, he found humming machines and vats of pinkish goo, writhing with vein-like tendrils. The air reeked of chemicals, not the familiar burger scent. Panicking, he snapped photos before fleeing, only for them to disappear from his phone overnight. Urban legend or not, variations abound. Cow eyeballs ground into patties to meet 100% beef, claims, earthworms as cheap fillers, even human meat sourced from shady suppliers. In 2014, a hoax video went viral, showing proof of human remains in processing plants, sparking global panic. For believers, every bite is a gamble, the juicy patty hiding horrors engineered in the shadows. Skeptics point to McDonald's denials and factory tour, but the doubt lingers. What if the Golden Arches conceal a lab-born apocalypse? This chilling myth, debunked yet enduring, turns a simple meal into a descent into body horror, where trust in food crumbles like overcooked fries. The drive-thru phantom. Late one foggy night in a suburban McDonald's, the drive-thru hummed with the occasional car, headlights piercing the mist. Employee Jake, manning the window on graveyard shift, noticed a regular, a disheveled homeless man who'd linger in the lot, muttering to himself. But tonight was different. The man approached the window on foot, his eyes wild and bloodshot, demanding a free coffee. When refused, he unzipped his pants and began masturbating furiously, his free hand banging on the glass. Customers behind honked, but he ignored them, hurling curses and discarded wrappers like projectiles. Jake called the police, but they dismissed it. No weapon, no response. Hours dragged as the man paced, exposing himself to every passing vehicle, his shadow elongated under the sodium lights like a grotesque puppet. Women in minivans sped away in terror. A family with kids screamed as he pressed against their window. Finally, after 4 harrowing hours, he vanished into the night, leaving smears on the menu board. But staff swear he's still out there. On quiet shifts, they hear scratching at the windows, see fleeting figures in the fog. Similar tailies flood employee chats, naked duos cruising through, drunks punching out pains and bleeding out, or customers offering drugs for sauce packets. The drive-thru, meant for convenience, becomes a portal to the unhinged, where the barrier between normalcy and madness is as thin as a wrapper. Thanks for listening. If you're brave enough for more, hit subscribe and join us for the next story that will haunt your imagination. Until next time, keep the lights on.